Oh, no, 3, no idea.
I trust them about as much as I trust them.
Just walk
Food.
the area to just sitting around inside for a minute.
I don't
The
think
tractor's good.
he's a good vegetarian to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you know? He's my cook.
Given.
And be grateful for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come out of this. Come out of this.
Right. Good evening all. Welcome. This meeting will be live streamed through the council's Facebook page. Persons attending will be captured on film except when seated in the public sitting area, with the exclusion of the first row. Any speaker will be picked up and broadcast. Fire alarm drill is not planned. In the event of an alarm, please make your way out of the building using either staircase to a point in the front yard and obey further instructions. Councillors are reminded that to avoid the risk of being seen as predetermined or biased, they should consider all debate prior to deciding on how to vote on items of business. Urgent items for information only can be brought to the attention of the committee at the discretion of the chairman at the end of the meeting. No decision can be taken on items not detailed on the public agenda. And please ensure mobile phones are turned off or silent. Item 1, apology for absence.
I have Councillor Tolling for a prior appointment.
Okay. Can I have a proposal and second for minutes? Thank you. All in favour?
Yep.
Declarations of interest to receive disclosures of interest from councils on matters to be considered at the meeting. The disclosure shall include the nature of the interest. If a member becomes aware during the course of the meeting of interest that had not been disclosed, they must do so immediately. Item 3, public participation. Your turn.
My turn. Do you want me to put the microphone on?
Yes.
Stand around by the chairs if you want to be seen, gentlemen.
Yes. I expected to pick me up here. Right, I'm here as a resident in relation to the matter before you tonight under planning, which is the road markings up by the interchange station. These are obviously done by highway engineers. They're not done by anybody with any knowledge of human psychology. Canton was in the top 3 of the wettest places in the country. And as you know, we do have a considerable rainfall during the year. So imagine you are a student going to college in Exeter by train, and you live at the far end of Romansfield Estate, or you live on the new Mill on the Hill, or whatever it's called, estate, and it's lashing down with rain, and you have to get the train at 7:15, whatever. Are you going to trudge through the rain? No, you're going to ask your mummy to drop you off at the station. However, when mummy gets to the station, instead of being able to drop you off by the pedestrian entrance with an overbridge, poor mummy has to drive the length of the road, wait to join the traffic on Exeter Road, drive 100 yards up Exeter Road, then turn left onto Stockley Mead, down to the station to drop you off. Are people going to do that? No, they're not. They're going to pull into the nearest space, chuck the kid out, turn around and go home. So as I have pointed out at another meeting concerned with this, I have said there must be somewhere where you can arrange not a parking place, a simple drop-off place where you're not allowed to stop, but you can drop people off. Because believe you me, they will park anywhere and everywhere unless there is a designated dropping off space. Turn round and go back the way they came. There is no need whatsoever for people to have to drive all the way up down Hameldown, wait to join Exeter Road, etc., etc. It's going to add another 5 possibly 10 minutes to their journey, plus all that extra petrol. I mean, they're not going to do it. So we have to understand psychology here, human nature being what it is. So please, could you put in your recommendations to highways that there is a stopping off place on this side of the railway to access the overbridge? I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Item 4. Members' questions.
Oh, I have a moment.
That's Councillor first. That's right.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure whether it's the right place to bring it up, but no idea. Yeah. Do off marks.
Just volume.
Right, I'm not sure whether this is the right place to bring it up, but speaking to a number of retailers around the town, a number of small business owners, and the general public around the town, there is a rumour going around that South West Water are going to carry out mains repairs work sometime in June. Some of this information comes from quite good sources who've been notified about it, and they're not on about just doing a relining of pipework. They're on about digging the road up, taking the pipe out and putting new pipework in. I'm wondering, as a council, whether we should be opposing this at this particular time and give the town some time to recover from the issues that the town is experiencing at this minute on lack of footfall. I'm not sure whether we can do anything about it, but I think we should be raising a concern on behalf of our townspeople and opposing this and putting it into a much later date. I understand if it's water leaking then it's got to be done as a leak, but just having spent almost 9 months replacing the pipework with the roads closed and no one from South West Water taking advantage of those roads being closed to do the repair work that is being proposed, as I understand. I can't find any information to say this, but it comes from a pretty good source. I'm just raising it as a concern, see whether we can do anything about it in the future, should we get any information about it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. I would suggest first port of call is our Devon County Councillor. So I'm quite happy to do a note to this to the County Council and see if they get a response back. Okay. Because I think even county councillors, wherever this sort of work is going on, it's having the same sort of problems. Once they start and once they've set their programs, it's almost impossible to stop it. But we certainly don't want work in June, do we?
No.
Any other questions?
Yes, I did have one, sorry. This is again related to the sort of issue that's just been raised in terms of the restrictions of traffic flow through Oakhampton. I've had a complaint from some members of the public, or a comment really from members of the public, about, as you all know, of course we all know that when you leave the town from Waitrose, you go out to sort of Sworton Cross and then along the dual carriageway and then back down to where I live and so forth on the bus. So you know that's one route. But the other route, which is quite interesting, which is the one that's been commented to me about, is, and I tried it out for myself to see what it was like, is a diversion, officially signposted diversion from Folly Gate, crossroads at Folly Gate, through to Goulburn Cross, and then you go down through the woods, back down to my area. Now, people said to me about it, and I thought, well, Michael, try it out. And I, as you know, I've got loads of different sort of cars. So I tried it in my higher off the ground saloon cars, went down through there, and it was bottoming. You know, it was really dangerous. And there were, when I went down through there, I met coming towards me big, sort of great big vans and almost lorries coming down there. And the lorry people and sort of wound the windows down and be careful because of the pits. And so if commercial, what I'm trying to say to you, colleagues, if commercial vehicles as well as pedestrian cars are finding this dangerous because of this this so-called diversion, then I think it's something that it has to go probably to West Devon County, I expect Council Each. Is that right, County? Something, is it? Sorry.
It would be
I
county.
put this on, didn't I? I know, I'm sorry.
It would definitely be county.
Yeah. So, yeah, we need to raise it with county because it is causing a lot of, complaints and also damage to vehicles. And I nearly damaged my own vehicle going down through there, and going really slowly. You go down in a right big pit, and it's just awful. So I promised the people who raised it with me that I would talk about it, because although it's going outside our town, it's affecting townspeople who are trying to navigate the town. So that's it, Councillor Leach. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, my daughter brought this to my attention. She works in Hackney. That's the only way she can come in that way. But she was going to go down Abbeyfield Woods Way just to find that the road had been closed.
That's right.
So she then had to go down around Brighton. But she said the Abbeyfield Road is appalling. Yeah, but it has been like it for some long time.
So excuse me, just to reply to you, Chair. What I was thinking to myself is they put the diversion signs, official diversion signs there, but what they've not done by the county council is make sure that the road is adequately surfaced for the vehicles they're using, and I think that's the point that I'm trying to make. So we need adequate surfacing there, and this is what drivers pointed out to me as I went along there. So thank you, Councillor Leach.
Okay. I've got a feeling, I might be wrong, but then also falls into another councillor's domain. I'm not quoting that way.
No.
So there's two. So I'm quite happy to put these two together and see what we get back.
Thanks a lot. Brilliant.
My daughter was also complaining. She comes across people with quite big cars who can't reverse them.
Oh yeah.
So she ends up reversing about a quarter of a mile because people can't go 20 yards backwards, which is quite sad.
Thank you,
Okay,
Councillor Leach.
thank you. Right, planning applications. So 0184/26 full demolition of existing buildings and construction of new warehouse units on Abbey Road.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
We have to share them. There we go. There you
This
are.
I've looked through this with some interest for the last couple of days. I don't need that. It seems quite straightforward. They're looking to protect the trees. They're looking to put, although there's no bat or nesting birds, or nesting birds in around the area that they're building, they've been asked to put up two nesting boxes and some bat boxes to aid the bats that may come there. The drainage all seems to be in good order because it's an existing building. They'll reroute the pipework and all that lot. It's a straightforward knock down the office block, knock down the old chiller unit or storage area at the back and rebuild a new warehouse along the side, which will clean and tidy up the area and make it more cohesive. So I propose that we recommend it.
I did go look on Friday, and I agree. Equally, the company that's doing it needs to expand again, and it's a very successful company. So, yeah. So I've got a proposal, and I've got a second. So all in favour of that? Full house. Thank you. Now we come to item 6, Devon County Council consultation and consider response to proposed wage restrictions in Oakhampton amendment order 67-4. Consultation closed on the 19th of February. We got two plans. I call them north and south. So the south being the area close to the new roundabout.
Yeah, that's the only.
And the entrance, or that side entrance to the station. So it's quite a clear key. So the proposed no waiting areas are clear. For me, it's a pity that the other section of road, Nexus Way, wasn't all included in this, but of course it's still a private road. So I'll ask for questions.
It wasn't a question really, I was just picking up on what the member of the public said, and in fact the information we have, which presumably is from Devon County, does say there will be, along with the no waiting, it said there will be the usual exemptions, including those in relation to picking up and setting down passengers, loading and unloading goods in disabled persons' vehicles. So they are allowing for that, so people won't need to drive around the block.
Yes, it's not clear on here where it would be. So you've got a green area with just no stopping at any time except for bus. So that's the bus battle.
Yeah.
So where are they going to designate an area for dropping off? That's the big my question.
That's not clear from that.
No, not from this.
No, I don't think that's not clear.
Yes.
I hear what you all say, but in reality this is not a matter of any concern, because in reality what they have already said they will be doing is allowing a 20-minute drop-off exemption in the parking area. So the whole reason for not allowing any form of parking on Hambledon and at Nexus Way is because all parking and drop-off will be scheduled to come via Higher Stockley Mead. It's as simple as that. So the concern is just not in fact the opposite. In reality, I'm really pleased that they're actually making restrictions there and not allowing people to stop, and I'm very much hoping that those restrictions will be properly monitored and people will be fined for breaking it. As simple as that, when there is a perfectly suitable alternative. Okay? The only other thing I'd like to mention is that obviously I didn't declare an interest because in reality the A30 Business Centre has its own, it's not quite, but we are aware as an A30 Business Centre of the consequences of the parking restrictions and the cost of parking. And the A30 Business Centre will be making arrangements to change the way the entrance to our area is monitored, and we'll be putting up barriers all the time, whereas at the moment they are just gates at night, because we're very fearful that people will take advantage of free parking You know, and as it stands at the moment, when the architects for Simon Essex created the two sets of units, we only allowed, I am told, that they only allowed 2 parking spaces per unit, and our unit alone uses 2 or 3, and that's quite common. So we're going to have our own set of problems there, and we don't want those exacerbated by what's going to happen. The third and final point I would make, but I think this will come out in the, should we say, when things are actually happening, is that I think there will be a lot of traffic coming into Stockley Mead from the B Road, and I'm quite convinced that they will need to sort of have some proper signalling arrangements there to actually control the traffic. Otherwise, it could be quite dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you. We did say exactly the same thing about the road that takes you around Shipwright Estates, that is Hamilton Road. We said, wait, it should have lights on there, or a mini road, and highways just, no, the computer says it will work. There's something we concerned me before too.
Yeah.
And if I just stick with the north one first. So Hamilton Road, Business Park. That's all right to say what they're going to do, but their plan doesn't actually show where it might be.
I was just going to ask a question actually, just because kind of go back to this parking again, and you know, somebody who lives at Council Richards lives in that area might be the best place to answer it. Where it talks about the road from Hamilton Business Park to Kellan's Lane, there is a length, and I think it's about 30 metres looking on this, where this no waiting won't apply. It's quite near the play area, and I wondered if that was possibly going to be where a drop-off point would be, even though it's quite a long way for people with disabilities, actually, you know, wheelchair users and what have you, to get to the station, or whether that's just kind of part of the access to the play area with there's something there. It's effectively there's a reason why, like a road narrow or something. I don't know. I mean, you may know that you know them. I've driven up and down it, just going from A to B, but not that familiar with the detail of in that sense.
Yeah, I have noticed that, but that's a straight one because it's on a straight. It's still a reasonable walk up the hill to be at the station, unless it's there for maintenance reasons. So people park in that area to maintain the playground. So, but I'm saying that they should go around and do it from the top. So we need to have a question on that. Yes? Right. And also, if that is it, then make it clear that's what it is. If not, where it's a designated drop-off area on that side of the road. If they can't go into the bus bay. If it was dual-purpose bus bay, which is first.
Well, I don't know. You want to see? I'll just wait.
On the Higher Stockley Mead section, opposite the eastern spur, there is a section of the road there on the bend where trucks frequently park, which we've spoken about in the past. That is not marked down as being red light, which I think is a failure. That going down that area, it affects the visibility going down to the bottom end of the road and coming back up, especially when they're picking up the children with the coaches and the buses and taxis. So I'm at a loss why they've not included that in the marking.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I, as often, want to raise a more general question, and I remember this being marketed and labelled as an interchange, which is quite interesting because from what has just been said and what we can see on our maps and so from the restrictions, it's anything but an easy interchange, to be perfectly candid with you. It's a difficult interchange. So really, it is, as was said when I went to the meeting, or whether we had a little site visit, it's really the big parking area, the big parkway is where people go. So this is a problem because the interchange aspect of it seems to be minimalised really. This is what I would say from listening to what you colleagues have said and what I can see on the map. But that may be me misinterpreting this, but it seems like very difficult as we just said, a drop-off thing, whatever. So yeah, that's my problem. It's not really an interchange. Anyway, sorry. That's it.
That's what the bit looks like without the red line. There is no gates, it is just an open, grassy section.
Yeah, of course, too.
So now time limited on that.
As I say, whether it was done for maintenance, so someone can park there to maintain it, but it makes no sense.
Can I just come in on, may I just come in on that point? At that particular point, you wouldn't be using it for that purpose.
No.
There is no justification for missing it out, because at that particular point, it's a very steep bank, and you would be, if you wanted to bring equipment in, you would be doing that, stopping in just after the corner in Helens Lane, and then you take the equipment back in on the pathway up. But at that particular point, where you're showing, it's actually quite, it's quite like a 45-degree slope.
That's right.
And I do agree with the colleagues who said that there's absolutely no justification for not including that. It's a problem waiting to happen if we don't say, that has been omitted by accident. And again, I would also like to support my esteemed colleague to my right, that the same is true of the missing bit on Higher Stockley Mead. That's another problem waiting to happen, given that, at the moment it's a nightmare out there. Someone who's using that road every single day, it is a complete nightmare with the lorries parking on the. I mean, what I don't understand is I can understand that both the Ford Glade and Badco receive lorries from overseas. I understand that. But at the same time, having looked at the lorries that are there, I genuinely believe on at least 2 or 3 evenings, nights of a week, there are foreign lorries who have come off the A30 and are sleeping overnight in that particular area. So it is something that we, if we've got the opportunity now to do something about it, please may we, as a council, propose that area is not omitted.
Yes.
Thank you. I think listening to what everyone's had to say and looking at the plans, it's evident that certain things have been either overlooked or ignored. I think with regards to the lorries parking along that stretch of the road, yes, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? And also not having a drop-off point on the other side of the station is a ridiculous oversight, because people will be people, and as Councillor Goffey mentioned earlier, people will stop wherever they can to drop people off and pick people up. And if they haven't put the ability for people to do that on the other side and expect all of that traffic to then move around, you're just going to snarl up the other side during peak times. So I think there's plenty of oversights that have been seen here. And perhaps as a council we could agree with the restrictions, because in principle they're a great idea, because even if people don't adhere to them, they are there, and some people will adhere to them. But perhaps we could extend the restrictions in Higher Stockley Mead and ask if they could look into a drop-off point for private vehicles on the other side of the station, somewhere reasonably close.
Or have the bus bays do use.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
That's something, yeah.
I did go have another look at this Stockley Mead issue on Friday, and yes, there was about 4 Artex parts on that section. And I thought, why is it that they're there and not in the news yard next to it? And I looked at that and it was chock-a-block full of lorries. Yes.
Mr. Chair, there is a matter here which is slightly outside of the purview of this, not this discussion, but this application, is that we are awaiting, are we not, the information about which bits of land Devon County Council might be prepared to sell off in the event of the unitary authority situation. As far as we are aware, I just want to sort of say this as a public note, that we're aware that the old tip, that's the old yard, we understand, is a piece of land which Devon County Council will be interested in passing on. And because, as I would understand it, it is an old tip, the old town tip or something like that, it would not be possible to sort of use it in any form of residential development. And then so therefore the idea of, at some point in the near future, some form of idea that could put that area of land as a proper interchange, a cafe, toilets, and all that sort of thing, should be something that we, in terms of creating our neighbourhood plan, would want to establish was something that the town might be happy to have in that location. So I just want to bring that to the attention for posterity, that we do have that option open to us, and perhaps as a council we may find ourselves in a position that we wish to pursue it in the future.
Okay. You're talking about a piece of land adjacent to New Roundabout.
Yes.
That's West Devon Borough Council.
I was under
No,
the impression, no?
West Devon
I was-
Borough Council.
Please may I say, sir, that I was under the impression that it is owned by Devon County Council, but leased to West Devon.
According to West Devon, it's theirs. We've discussed it here in
Not
meetings with them.
I was under the, I have it on,
Well, I'm glad you have, but we've got it from the chief executive of West Devon.
either way, sir.
Either way. Yes, it was a tip in that area.
That's
And it did cost an absolute fortune to remove all the rubbish to create the roundabout and spur road, the first best spur road, just to clean that up. Okay. Any more questions? Any more comments? Anyone like to make a proposal?
I think Councillor Coleman made a
I think it's
proposal.
in, yeah.
I did.
So if you like to just read that.
I think we've got that we would support this, but we would like to ask why certain areas have not got the red lines and that be corrected, and the drop-off point on the Neil Estate side of the station.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Just, all in favour? Yeah. Full house. Right. I'll close this meeting. It's 18:49.
Very good.
Well, that would be good. Yes. You know, don't know what you can do, but then